So here we are at the PIHRA Lunch and Learn. We're going to be talking about a key member benefit, the academic advantages PIHRA, with Pepperdine University. And I'm really glad to have this team with us. I am a Pepperdine MBA alum. Our CEO, Rafael Rivera, who you see here spotlighted, he's also a Pepperdine MBA alum. So this is close to our heart. But some great advantages, a great advantage of being a PIHRA member. Before we get started, some of you may have been listening in. We do have the California HR conference coming up on May 20th through the 22nd. We'll be in Anaheim at the Anaheim Hilton, and it's not too late to register for that. And we'll put some information about that in the chat. Also, in a couple weeks, let's see, on April 25th, our team is hosting the HR Power Series, and we have a great panel set up for that. And we're going to be discussing successes and challenges of women in leadership. So that'll be a great panel. And I believe that's in the South Bay area. So we're in mostly Southern California. And so when I talk South Bay, I'm talking about South Bay here in Southern California, which is El Segundo, Manhattan Beach, Redondo Beach. So we'll be in Redondo Beach, I believe, on that day. So I am just so excited to have you, Sean and Rebecca, and I am going to mute myself so that you guys can go ahead and get started. Welcome.
Great, thanks, Ellie. And today we have, like you mentioned, Rebecca and Brianna, my colleagues here. We're going to go over the benefits for PIHRA members, and then at the end have a little Q&A with a special guest. The CEO of PIHRA is going to talk about his experience a little bit and have some Q&A. So with that, I'll hand over to my colleague Rebecca to get started.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sean. Welcome, everyone. We're excited to share the benefits that you all have access to for being PIHRA members. So if we jump to the next slide, we will see us. Hello, these are our hosts for today, and these are your corporate partner benefits. So at Pepperdine, we do something really unique where we have corporate partnerships where instead of getting, we give. So based on this corporate partnership, all of our corporate partners get some major discount on all of our programs just for being, most of our partners are employed. However, you all have a very unique membership with Pepperdine, a unique partnership, meaning that if you're a member with PIHRA, an extension to those benefits and the value that you get from your PIHRA membership is getting corporate partnership benefits from Pepperdine. Now, this is the only company that if you're a member within PIHRA, you get these benefits. Usually it's for our corporate partners that are employed. So this is a very unique partnership, and we want all of you to take advantage of that. And as you can see here, you get major discounts on all of our programs that we offer here at Pepperdine, not only for yourself, but also for your spouse or domestic partner. So if you're thinking about furthering your education, this is a great benefit for you all. And if your spouse or partner or even your children are looking into furthering their education with Pepperdine, you do have access to these really neat, unique benefits. You get 10% off of all of our degrees that we offer. The application is actually waived, so you don't have to pay anything to submit an application and see if you're eligible for our program. And then for the non-degrees, for all the certificate programs, you get a 20% discount. And Sean's going to jump on into the next slide to talk specifically about which programs we have available for you.
Great, thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, like Rebecca mentioned, those are all the benefits that are offered to you. I'll now show which programs those benefits apply to. So we have 4 different graduate schools here at Pepperdine University, and you have access to all 4 of them now, which is a new thing for us this year. It was originally the business school, and we had business programs. So like actually all of us on this panel right now are all MBA alums at Pepperdine. It's almost a price of admission, I guess, to get on this call right now. You had to be to be a panelist, you got to be an MBA alum. So we have MBA programs, we have analytics, we have HR. So if you want to get a master's degree in human resources and really up your skill level there, that's great. We have one in management and leadership. That one's kind of like an MBA and subtract all the math courses, the fun stuff, the management leadership. We also have organization development, consistently ranked almost #1 in the world every other year. So phenomenal program. And also our business doctorate program. In addition to our business programs, we have education programs. So if you or your spouse want to look into a teaching degree, or a lot of people I've noticed in HR looking for online learning or being better at developing L&D programs, this would be a great path to go there. We have those learning design ones, organizational learning. In addition to that, there's doctorate programs in education, which is an EDD, or in leadership, which is a PhD. And actually, I'm double dipping here at Pepperdine and currently finishing up the leadership program in the education school, the PhD program. Also, we have psychology programs. Now, I know none of you in HR ever feel like a psychologist on the phone all the time, right? Why all this complaining happening? So we have psychology degrees. You want to look into that, that'd be fine. We also have law degrees, and this one is especially good with our certificates and our master's programs. The dispute resolution program is consistently #1 in the country, nationwide, #1. Beats Harvard. Now, I think currently this year we're tied with them, but consistently the top program over the last decade has been our dispute resolution program. Phenomenal program. In addition to that, we have public policy. You can get a master's in public policy. So all those programs are available to you with the discounts and benefits Rebecca spoke of on the previous slide. And if you'd like to look into that, the page there is pepperdine.edu/partner/PIHRA. Or if you're logged into your PIHRA account already, PIHRA.org/Pepperdine, boom, pops up and there's all the benefits for you and or your spouse or dependent children. Another program we offer, which is outside of even these current PIHRA benefits, is our Yellow Ribbon program. And this one beats any program we offer, even our partnership program. If you're a veteran or anyone in your company is a veteran, they can apply and receive the Yellow Ribbon program benefits. What that does in a nutshell is the Veterans Affairs will pay a certain amount on the GI Bill. Pepperdine will match any difference. So it's 100% covered for someone to go if they're a veteran to come to Pepperdine. That's phenomenal. Now, they need to check if they haven't used other benefits already somewhere else or there's some limit to it. But for most people coming in, if they're a veteran, they can come to Pepperdine for the same price as going to, say, a state school. Well, gosh, if I go to Pepperdine and the government's going to pay for it and Pepperdine will take the other half, I'm going to Pepperdine. So that's what the Yellow Ribbon program is. If you want to learn more about that, you go to that page, fill out the information Rebecca will talk about later, and we'll be able to help walk you through that. And with that, I'll pass it back to my colleague to talk about the Alumni Network.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sean. As we shared, we all are, everyone, all the panelists on this call are alumni, which is really, really exciting. We've gotten to learn, connect with each other, build our personal network. And I have to personally say that I've grown and I've met so many people from my cohorts that I'm still in contact with. I saw them last weekend at an event that we had at one of our former professors' house. So we're spending time together, we're building relationships, we're helping each other get positions and jobs. And it's very, very unique and useful. We have a huge alumni network. We have over 10,000 Pepperdine alumni globally, and that database is just growing. I run into people that graduated from Pepperdine all the time. One quick example is I recently found out that my son's principal at his elementary school graduated from Pepperdine, which is why it explains that every time my son wears those Pepperdine shirts, he gets like the extra like love from the principal. So you find them, Pepperdine alumni everywhere. It's a huge database. We welcome you all to join us and become an alumni so you can have access to that large alumni network.
And make sure to add a 0, 100,000.
100,000. Oh my goodness. Did I say 10,000? All right, so here's just a few words from some of our alumni that have graduated and gone through our programs. We have Tiffany Smith, who graduated with her MBA in 2009, and she stated, and I can identify and completely understand this statement, and it rings true for me as well. The value-centered leadership skills I gained guide me daily. I definitely agree with that 100%. There's been so many like hidden treasures embedded throughout my classes that I took at Pepperdine that really guide how I live my life. So I completely agree with you there, Tiffany. We have Nee Cortelli Cordy, and he graduated with his MA in 2012, and he stated that this program met me where I was in my career. Awesome. We have people that come through our programs from every single walk of life. It's very, very diverse in terms of what age you start. I've heard people say, like, what if I'm too young? You're not too young, you'll be fine. I've heard people say, like, what if I'm too old? I don't know if I could do this anymore. Absolutely, yes, you can. It's a doable program for working professionals. Most of our programs will really focus and work around a schedule a fully working schedule, like 9 to 5, you're working, and our programs will usually be on the weekends, in the evenings, online, to make sure that there's a lot of flexibility and can really meet you where you are. So that's one of the huge benefits of choosing Pepperdine as well. And then we have Ansley Waller, who got her MDR in 2019. And she stated, employers will recognize your unique perspective and value as a Pepperdine alumnus. Completely agree with that as well.
Yep. And that MDR program, just so probably should spell that out, that's the law school's master dispute resolution. So if you're working in HR, what a wonderful tool to have the capacity to resolve disputes pre-going to court. So I'm sure employers would much appreciate the ability of someone to really mediate, talk things down, and fix conflict before they escalate even further. So that's what the program she graduated from. And with that, Rebecca wants to finish up, and we're making record time here to get to Raphael, the star of the show.
Woohoo! Exciting. All right. So if you're interested in learning more, because we have so many different programs and so many different options, we really do encourage you to fill out this form. By filling out this form, your information will go directly to Sean or myself. We'll call you directly, one of us, and you'll chat with us. We'll talk about where you are in life, make sure to meet you where you are, try to figure out what your priorities are, what your goals are, what you're really going to look for, and then guide you to the next best step. The next best step may be to connect you with a recruiter because you're ready to apply, or the next best step may be, hey, let's touch back again in a year. But it doesn't hurt to fill this form out so you can have a conversation with us. We really are here to help guide you through your next step in your career and your professional development. So please fill this out so we can be in touch with you and chat with you. Even if you never fill out an application, we just want to get to know you and figure out where you are, where you want to go, how can we serve you. And that's going to be one of the key things that you'll see at Pepperdine. It's very, 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 very personalized, and it'll be focused on your needs. Our classroom sizes are much smaller than many of our competitors and other top ranking schools in the area. Our classroom sizes are small so that you can get mentorship, get to know all of your classmates very, very well, and then also be in touch with us so that we could help guide you and coach you, because we do this every day. We do it all the time. We do it with all of our corporate partners, and we really do it with all our hearts. So we do hope to see people grow, reach their full potential, and go to the next level within their career. So fill this out so we can be in touch. And with that, I think we're introducing Raphael. Is that right, Sean?
Yeah, we will move on to the next thing. And one also thing to mention about this request for information, you all are VIPs in our eyes. So from Pepperdine, you go to the corporate partnership area. So it's a whole separate area than the rest of the general public. So when you come in from this form here, no one sees you except for us, the corporate relations. So you stay in a segmented, partitioned off database. You don't get any spam. Nothing else comes through. It's just us. Once we talk to you and you tell us, I'd like to learn more about that dispute resolution, then we move you to the law school's database and you're off and running like that. But what this does by filling out this form, earmarks you as VIP, get all the benefits from these partnerships, and keeps you separate from the general public until you're ready to learn more about a program. So it's a great program we have set up here, and that's what this form would do if you'd like to be given more information. So
One more quick thing. Well, sorry. Before you move on, one quick thing I would like to add is we've actually been in touch with a lot of PIHRA members in the past. And one key thing to remember is that if you want to bring these Pepperdine benefits into your company, we're more than happy to chat with you as well. Let's say you work at NBC Universal and you're thinking, how can I expand the benefits that we offer here at work? We're more than happy to chat with looking and reviewing the company that you work at to see if this is a possibility of a partnership that we could extend to your company. So know that this is a benefit that you could take advantage directly. And we're also looking to expand our partnerships and become more partners with other companies. So if you're interested in seeing if your company may be eligible for these benefits at Pepperdine, we can make it a company-wide thing, and it would be offered to all of the employees that you work with.
Excellent point. Yeah, definitely. So now with that, we can probably do a stop the screen share and get back to the star of the show who we want to talk to. And what we like to do is introduce someone who needs no introduction, but of course you'll still get one anyway. Our good friend and your CEO, Raphael Rivera, who is, as he mentioned, a Pepperdine MBA himself from 2008. He's been the CEO of PIHRA since 2010, going on a long 14-year streak. We'll see how much longer he's going to be here. Maybe it'll be used indefinitely. See how that goes. And when I think about Raphael, I think about, in my mind, if I see Raphael, it's energy all the time, smiling all the time, however, thinking all the time, which is a strange combination to be so energetic, smiling, but you look in his eyes, you're like, you know what? He's playing about 20 games of chess right now, but he's still able to smile and look at me. That's pretty a cool combination. So that's what I think of. I think Raphael. So with that, Raphael, thanks for joining us in the call. We have a few questions we'd like to ask you about your experience, and then we can have any Q&A that's going to be moderated by Lily from the audience, and then we'll be done here in record time for a nice quick recording.
John, thanks for the intro. Before you ask questions, I want to highlight that I am an advocate for continuing education. That's what we do here at PIHRA, and that's what I have done leading other organizations. My passion is business, having previously worked for the National Society of Hispanic MBAs and having started my HR career as an MBA recruiter on campus, going out to find those U.S. World and Business News, top 25 school candidates to introduce them to the corporations we're working for. And as you mentioned, I am a Pepperdine ambassador, having graduated with my MBA. So I have the experience of having my employer pay for my MBA to start, and then I chose to part ways so that I could expedite my completing my degree and get back to doing the things that I really enjoy. So I hope I can add some nuggets of information to your or our audience today.
Excellent. Sounds good. Building on that, if you could talk about what advice would you give our PIHRA colleagues here? What advice would you give them about pursuing a degree while still being, a full-time worker in their primary career? How do you balance that? What advice would you give them about being a full-time employee and actually still pursuing an MBA or whatever degree they'd like to choose?
Well, when I decided to go back to school, I looked at both routes, full-time and part-time, and I had gotten quite attached to my paycheck, in all transparency. So I didn't want to drastically change my lifestyle. And Pepperdine, with this part-time MBA, allowed that flexibility. So I could take one course or two courses a trimester in order to continue to move ahead and finalize my goals. So my employer, and this is what I recommend to those that are in a position of influence, this is a great retention tool. I had considered leaving my employer, and they knew that I was interested in pursuing my MBA. So they chose to invest in my MBA, which allowed them to retain me for probably 18 more months, which really helped with their particular turnover and their continued growth, until I chose that I really wanted to dive in full time and then invest in myself, because it is an investment, and this discount does help those that are going to pay out of their own pocket, probably with a student loan at some point to complete the program.
That's interesting. It was retention tool. And that was 08 or 07 back then. Even more so today, it seems like companies are looking for ways to retain the good top talent. And of course, that's preaching the choir here with the HR audience. Of course, that's what it is. We were at one of our partners' conferences a couple weeks ago, and the CHRO got on stage and she said to her entire team, "We're, as a company, are going to invest more in learning and development for our employees this year than any year in the past. We're double down on education, and we're going to really use that as a development and a retention tool." So that's exactly what you mentioned, what they're doing right now in 2024. So that's definitely something that's on the docket there. And like Rebecca mentioned, if you'd like to have this benefit for your entire company, hit us up, let us know. We'll talk to you about that. If it's mainly for you, great. If it's for your spouse, great.
And I'm excited that we've expanded beyond the business school. So it gives us more options, our members more options, and in future colleges more options to choose from. I'm going to put it out there. I am interested in that JD degree, and I can't go full time. So, you could hook me in, part time. It might take me a little while, but I'm interested.
Right. Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay. I think Rebecca's got a question now too.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Raphael, for sharing. And I agree with Sean 100%. Like, we appreciate your energy. And I always get so excited when I hear you speak anywhere because it's so engaging and it's so like powerful. So I want to know from you, why did you choose specifically to do the part-time MBA?
Well, the part-time MBA, again, it allowed me to stay with my employer. So I was able to continue with my salary, and I was actually able to increase my salary as I progressed. So I don't know if this is strategic on my employer's comp plan, but as I kept getting or completed more courses, they were able to slowly increase my compensation. And it just worked well. With my workload, I was leading a national association. I had a hectic travel schedule. I was traveling about 120 days a year. So it just worked out. It just made sense for me to be able to, take classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and do my work on the road. I mean, I didn't have the benefit of Teams back in the dark ages of, pre iPad, pre Zoom. So we just had to make do.
And I have a follow-up question for that. Did you see throughout your classes, or maybe what specific class or professor or thing that you learned, were you able to take from the classroom on Tuesday and then apply it the very next day on Wednesday? Do you have an example of that? We'd love to hear that from you.
So I have two examples, and I wish I remember the name of the professor, because I took him for several classes for marketing. I really enjoyed him. So I should have been more prep. But the first thing that got me was organizational development. Coming into the business school program, I can tell you, like, I knew nothing about OD. I'm just going to say that it really opened my eyes on how to be a more effective leader, how to be more empathetic, connect better with the workforce, which I think has allowed me to build great cultures and have a longer tenure of employees. I think before COVID, my team averaged more than like 8 years, having been, with me. So that was probably the thing that I was able to like apply like immediately and continue to build on. And then typically we were able to bring issues that we were doing in the workplace. And oftentimes I could talk through an idea with either my cohort or the professor, and be able to implement something the very next day.
Excellent. Good job. And follow-up, I have two, but I'll give you one at a time, I guess, if that's good. First one is, how has your education at Pepperdine impacted your career at PIHRA specifically? Anything you can think about that?
Yeah, so having been previously a promoter of Latino getting MBAs, it was usually about like, how do I convince somebody to go back to school? How do I convince somebody to make an investment in themselves? The easiest way is to show them the money. So, I could say that I am 3.5 times have increased my salary since before I started my degree. So your compensation will increase I want to say you have unlimited potential, because many of my cohort chose to go into business for themselves. So they were able to, take control of not only their, career choices, compensation, but, overall life. So that is, really impactful. Pepperdine, the values that I found at Pepperdine as a Christian university, but not overtly, really aligned with me wanting to serve associations. So I always knew that I wanted to come back and run a nonprofit, and that was going to be my career path. I've worked for profit and nonprofit. And looking at other universities, I just didn't see the same values there. So I just thought Pepperdine was just a better fit at the time. That's not why everyone went to Pepperdine. Others were simply there because of their particular circumstances or career aspirations, but that resonated with me.
Excellent. Great. And I think it kind of ties to my other question, which might be a little overlap here, is how did it help further your goals as a professional, having that background for Pepperdine's degree there? I think you didn't already cover in the previous answer.
Yeah, to some extent, having completed a degree, I think also gives one the confidence to continue to pursue their education. So, this is where, now I can say, oh, if I do want to, continue and go for a JD, I've already completed a MBA, or I can do a master's in dispute resolution. Like those things resonate, and I personally will always be a learner. So if having completed one program is just going to give one the confidence to continue and pursue other programs, certificates, certifications throughout their career.
Excellent. Great. We did have a question in the chat there about which programs are offered. I'm going to put back on the screen for a quick second here the programs, and we can get to the next question after that. But these are the programs that are offered through, am I on the right screen here? Yes, there we go. And so we have business programs where there is a doctorate level. The question specifically was, do we have a PhD? So there's a doctoral level in the business program. That's a DBA, Doctor of Business. In our education and psychology school, we have two different doctorate levels, or three, sorry. We have two in education, one in psychology. So the education one's an EDD, whereas that's maybe a 3 year or so. It's more a practitioner type degree where you're trying to find an answer to a solution. Whereas the next one in global leadership and change, that one is our PhD in our school of psychology education. And that one is maybe 4 or 5 years, depending on how you go. And that one's more about creating basically more questions. How can I get a framework for analyzing a situation, not solving a problem, but really furthering the knowledge base of an issue. And then we have our doctorate in psychology, and that would be different, of course, than both of those. The final doctorate would be what Raphael's been saying for a little bit here, a JD, and you get to go be a lawyer. So that would be the final doctorate we have available at our school.
Well, Sean, HR professionals, they probably, would all be eligible for like a JD because they have to deal with the California employment law and regulations changing so often. I mean, there might be like new things that they need to worry about every year. And sometimes they don't all just hit January 1st. They just roll them out through the first 6 months and expect that amongst everything else that HR has to do, that they also keep up with compliance.
Yeah. To build on that point, if you want to look further, and again, felt the information, we'll get back to you with more data on it. But we have master's programs also at the law school, which is less of a commitment than the full doctorate program. And that's one which will be legal studies for non-lawyers. So if you had no intention of taking the bar and going that far, but you wanted to increase your knowledge base about law, that might be a good option if you wanted to keep your HR career and also get that law background. And we look at the classes in the curriculum, it's exactly what you're talking about. Compliance, law, employee relations, all that stuff is part of these programs.
Sean, I do see a question in the chat that says if we also offer a PhD. I think you can answer that.
Yeah, we answered that one. That was the ones we all went through. So the PhD one would be the education psychology directly. That's the program I'm in right now. That was about 3 years of coursework. And then as long as it takes you to write, so you have a dissertation at the end. So when someone asks you, when are you going to finish your PhD? We don't talk about that. It goes as it goes. But on average, it could be about 4 years. You could do it really quick if you just went crazy. And I have a colleague that did about 3.5 years. But it's probably 4 years or so to get a PhD through Pepperdine. And that's part-time. You still have your normal career, everything like Raphael said, but you can get that on the side there. Okay, I see. Oh, a Q&A popped in there. We should look at that one too.
Yeah, hi, it's Lily. There's one here. Michelle's asking, is Pepperdine a good choice for kids just graduating from high school? And I'd like to hear the answer to that one too.
Got it. So I personally, my wife and I have our middle son graduating high school right now in a month or so, and he's going to be starting in Pepperdine in the fall as a freshman. So that is a great Seaver College undergraduate program. That's not part of this program there. Our program is for not saying adults. He's an adult now. He's 18, but these are for working professionals already out in the field that want to come back and on a part-time basis get their degree. Whereas the Seaver College is for being a full-time student, and that's not what this program usually is. The dependent children aspect we have in our agreement with PIHRA here, that would be say if say up until 26 you're still in the health insurance. Say they were a 22-year-old, they finished their undergrad and they want to come back and get an MBA or they want to get a master's degree. This program will be applicable to that, and since you're a PIHRA member, your child meets the qualifications, they will have access to these benefits. But the undergraduate school is kind of a different approach. It's not part of corporate relations at all.
And Sean, I'll touch base on that in the sense that I know people that went straight from undergrad to a master's program. And there's a combination. I think you may have mentioned at the beginning. You have people that have been out in the corporate world. I came back, what was it, in my mid-30s? And in some of my cohorts, not that many, but some, they just, came from undergrad and no business experience. So they had a different perspective and added different things when we had group projects.
Right. Yeah, that is a good point that the business school, if you're talking about that one, would like some experience because when you come into the classroom, you're adding to the classroom too. If you're coming straight from undergrad, you can say, well, I read a book about it. Well, go get some experience and come back. I read a book about flying, get in the cockpit and fly the plane, then let's talk. So yeah, it's good to have some experience when you're coming into the program.
Well, it's not as dangerous as flying a plane.
Right.
And from my experience, those that came without previous work experience, they added their benefit was probably because they were naive or didn't have that experience. So they were questioning like assumptions or caused two questions like, well, I've been doing this for like 10 years and like that doesn't work. And they're like, well, why doesn't it work? I'm like, have you tried in the past 10 years that same thing again? It's like, oh, okay, well, let's have a conversation and see if we can do something different.
Yeah, definitely.
I see a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I see a question here in the chat as well that Vinju wants to know what's the most popular major people choose. That's a great question. We do have some very high ranked programs like Sean mentioned earlier. The Masters in Dispute Resolution is ranked #1 in the nation, so that's a very popular program. Another very popular program that people choose that are working full-time is the part-time MBA because it's the most flexible and it allows you to work and get your degree at the same time. And I did see another question saying, what's the maximum amount of time for a master's degree? And that's going to change significantly based on which program you choose. So some of these programs, you come in and there's a set cohort and it takes about 18 months, sometimes 2 years to complete the degree. And then there's other programs that are much more flexible, like the part-time MBA, which you can complete in anywhere from 2 to 7 years. So you have a long time to be able to finish it. That's the program I did. And I started the program without any kids. And in my mind, I was going to finish that degree in 2 years. And it took me 4, but I had 2 kids while working full time and pursuing the degree and learning how to be a new mom. So I'm so glad that I went with that program specifically because it was very flexible for the needs that I had. I don't know if I would have completed the degree had I chosen another school or another program that was not as flexible. So this really allowed me the flexibility to be able to live my life and kind of take things at my own pace, and then also be able to finish my degree at the end and have it all. So I had the degree, my career, and then also become a mom. So great questions, everyone.
Isn't that the goal of everyone, to have it all? That's a good point, though, about having the flexibility. It's kind of like, I've got 2 dogs here. One dog's a bulldog. She inhales her food. And are you even enjoying it? The other one likes to nibble and enjoy it. So do you want to just shove it all in? We have programs for that. Do you want to take a piece here and there? We have programs for that. So whatever you like to do. You want to be a bulldog or a dachshund? We got this covered for you here at Pepperdine. I did see one about the EDD, asking about the length for that one. That would be our School of Educational Psychology. That would be the Doctorate of Education, EDD. That one has coursework of about 2 years plus a dissertation, which usually takes about 3 terms. So for us, that's a year. However, you can overlap a little bit as you're finishing up your coursework. You can start dissertation if you have time. If not, you wait and start when you're done. So it could be anywhere from 2.5 to 3 years or so for an EDD if you'd like. So it's a little bit less than the PhD. It's less coursework, and you can probably finish a little quicker than the full PhD program. It also depends on what you're looking for. If you want to be an expert in a field and you solve problems specifically for that field, EDD is wonderful. That makes you an expert in the field. If you want to create new research and really find new frameworks and extend the thinking and the knowledge, put your little brick in that wall of education there, the PhD could be a good option. If you want to be a lawyer like Raphael, the JD is a good option.
And Ian, just to
I see
follow up
that
to your
Ian had a
question.
question about, can you crush the program from 4 to 2? And I'm going to go back to, my example. I was doing 1 to 2 courses over like 18 months. And depending on my how busy I was at work. And when I decided to crush it, I really just like stacked on and put like everything in 1 year so that I could just be done with it.
Yes, and to my experience, I've seen people complete it in actually less than 2 years. So the part-time MBA program that allows you all that flexibility. There was one student who actually completed the MBA in a year and a half. And basically, you have to take like 1 or 2 terms and show that you can maintain a high grade point average. And at that point, you would just talk to your personalized advisor and let them know, hey, I really want to finish this faster than the 2 years. Can we make that happen? And they'll work with you and make sure that your goals are met based on what your capacity is and what your timeline is. So absolutely, that part-time MBA allows the flexibility. We say 2 years because it usually takes all of our students anywhere from 2 to 2.5 years to actually complete it. However, if you're a super overachiever and you're super go-getter and you think you can finish it in less than 2 years, there have been others before you that have done that, so it's definitely doable. I think it's an urban legend that anyone takes 7 years to complete it, but it's there just so that you know that there's wiggle room, flexibility, and to have that like weight off of your shoulders to say like, hey, if you need a mental health break, take some time off and come back to the classes. If you're gonna have a baby, take some time off. If you need to go live life and go to Hawaii for the summer and not take any classes, you can do that too. So there's a lot of flexibility that program allows specifically. And I would say that's probably going to be like the most popular program for our corporate partners because it allows flexibility. And most people that step into that program already have around 5 to 7 years of work experience, and they're just ready to like accelerate growth instead of having to like work through it. It's like, hey, I want to take this shortcut. I'm going to get my MBA, 2 years, jump 3 or 4 steps ahead, like we've heard Raphael did in his career, and just doubling that paycheck, doubling that workload, and making sure that you're advancing faster. That definitely allows it. So yes, it's very flexible. You can do it in less than 2 years. You have up to 7 years. And there's lots. If you're interested, we have this form here. Just fill it out. Even if you don't know necessarily which program you're looking for, if we get your information, we can have a quick conversation with you. We can go grab coffee or something and just chat to see what it is that you're really looking for in terms of next steps.
Seems like a lot of questions about Raphael's program, your program, the part-time MBA. To actually know what it would be like, if you were signed up in it, what it comes out to be is for 2 years, so that's 6 trimesters, so that's fall, spring, summer, you would take 2 courses per term. If you do that for those 6 terms, you graduate in 2 years. And 2 courses for us means Tuesday, Thursday, 6 to 10 p.m., Monday, Wednesday, Monday, Thursday, something like that. For 2 years, you're graduated. So that's what Raphael did. Well, a little more actually, but that's what it would take to finish in 2 years. What are you gonna say, Raphael?
Well, one, I was gonna, Rebecca's make me question my memory. I'm like, I thought I knew somebody that graduated in 7, or maybe that was a friend of a friend that graduated in 7. A pro tip, both as an executive that invests in my employees for professional development. If you were to consider a part-time MBA and there's a question of whether your employer will pay for it or not, sometimes the employer is more keen to pay to build the skill set that will directly contribute to your particular role. So maybe they don't pay for your full degree, but maybe they'll pay for portions of your degree. Let's say if your background is in marketing or finance, maybe they'll pay for the courses that directly relate to what you're doing at that point in time. And maybe those that are tangential, like OD, where it's like, hey, I need this. This is going to help me work better with my team, or this is going to help me be a better supervisor. So, go ahead and pay for that portion. So that's a way to negotiate with your employer to get that degree subsidized.
That's an excellent point. I had one of the students tell me that he did the executive MBA, which, just so you know, is a little bit quicker than the part-time MBA. It's 19 months and it's in lockstep where there's no flexibility. You're not Rebecca's flexibility. This program, no flexibility. You're starting, you're stopping in 19 months. That one meets every third weekend for Friday, Saturday. Everything else is on your own coursework wise, virtual, whatever else. You're only meeting once every third week. And that's for 19 months. And with that one specifically, every project you do could be on your own company if you wanted it to. So what this individual did, he made every project, marketing, finance, along the way about his company. And his company took that as almost consulting work and ponied up more money and paid more for education because they got the value out of it. So to Bill and Raphael's point, if you show value, companies will then usually come about if you talk to them properly and get Raphael's advice about negotiation.
Sean and Rebecca,
And
I just wanted to have you repeat the specific benefit that PIHRA members get. So how much do they save when they become a PIHRA member? This is an exclusive PIHRA benefit. Can you repeat what that is so that everybody, we have 258 people here, they understand how becoming a PIHRA member really will benefit in dollars and cents with their academic career?
Yeah, can you put a dollar amount to that? What's that saving?
Well, every program is going to be different. That's a great question, but it's usually going to be upwards to like 10,000 or more saved dollars. So that's a huge value. And like I mentioned earlier, I know some of you may have joined after this because we jumped into the session right away. We hit the ground running at noon. So if you missed this session, I will touch a few points again so that you all understand what's going on here. Basically, PIHRA and Pepperdine have a partnership. And because of that partnership, every single member at PIHRA gets a huge discount and other benefits on our education. And PIHRA is the only company that we work with where we're extending those benefits to the members. So it's a huge benefit. We work with other corporate partners like Disney and Coca-Cola, and you have to be an employee, a direct employee, in order to get that benefit. This isn't accessible to just everyone. So it's a very exclusive benefit. And PIHRA is the only company that we work with where we actually extend those benefits to the partners. I know I'm repeating myself, but I really want you to understand that that is a huge value for all of you to extend your education at Pepperdine, and it's exclusive to being a member at PIHRA. So your PIHRA benefits, this is a huge aspect of it where you get 10% of the degrees, all of the degrees that Sean mentioned earlier that we went through individually one by one, there's a 10% discount. And every single program, I know some of you are asking specifically about price. Every program is priced ranged differently based on different rankings or the offerings. That's why we want you to fill out your information at the pepperdine.edu/partner/PIHRA so that we can talk specifically about which program you're interested in, because all of the programs have different pricing structures, but you do get 10% off of that And like I mentioned, usually it's around $10,000 discount, which is pretty good. You also don't have to pay anything to submit an application. So if you're even remotely thinking like, this may be an opportunity for me, my advice for you would be to just submit an application. It'll cost you nothing because you're a PIHRA member. That's $160 worth of savings that you don't have to pay out of your own pocket, that is taken care of basically because you're a member at PIHRA. 160 bucks around there, depending on which program. They're all priced differently, but it's usually around that price point. Submit your application for free, and then you'll get to find out if you're admitted into the program. We'll go through specific scholarship packages because the 10% discount is stackable with other benefits that we offer at Pepperdine. So everyone usually is eligible for the merit scholarship, meaning that when you submit your application, you're automatically reviewed based on your GPA. You're given a merit scholarship if you qualify, for those that qualify. And it can be stacked with the 10%. So you can stack these benefits, 10%, Pepperdine's merit scholarships that are given on behalf of Pepperdine. We also have referrals. So for example, if you are referred directly by a Pepperdine alumni, which you've met a handful of us today, reach out to Lily or Raphael and they could refer you. You get scholarships just for that, or early incentive scholarships. There's a lot of different available scholarship packages that stack with that 10% discount. So if you want to know specifically more about a program, fill out the form that you see here. Sean and I will call you and we could talk and give you different options, different pricing structures, and so forth. I hope that answers the question.
So Raphael, I think we're gonna have an uptick in PIHRA enrollments for PIHRA members. And it's gonna be like, wow, why is every Pepperdine student a PIHRA member when they come in here?
Yes, which is a great segue, Sean. Raphael, we have some people may be interested in becoming a PIHRA member after today. Do you want to talk about your plans for PIHRA and how we're going to continue to impact the HR community through mentor programs and webinars and conferences? I think there's some questions around that.
Well, PIHRA as an organization is going to continue to expand our continuing education, professional development offerings, both to members and to the HR community. What we see is that, in California, these resources there's not sufficient participation, and there are not enough providers out there trying to take care of the HR community. So this is where we step in with that content. Members get a lot of continuing education credits in GEUs that can be applied towards your recertifications, whether you are a SHRM or HRCI. And also, the valid proposition of joining an organization like PIHRA are our local communities. We have 18 professional chapters, 12 student chapters. So you can see people, talk to them in person, in really, like, we've seen our networks. I've seen many emerging professionals, grow their career significantly. Like in one decade, I could see somebody go from a manager to a VP of HR for a Fortune 500 company. So we also offer in those local communities opportunities to develop your leadership skills as a volunteer, because if those aren't offered to you at your place of employment, then here's a way for you to practice in a safe space in order to develop those skills.
There you go. Back to the pricing question just for a second. Some programs are, say, 26 units, 32 units. Some programs are 70 units. That's why the price is different. It's a longer program. So to Rebecca's point, we're not charging different prices in the same program. It's just how long it takes or how much you're getting for it is why there's a difference. So fill out the form. We can talk to you directly to the exact person that specializes in that program. They give you specific details for that tuition, that discount, and give you everything you need to know.
Sean, a pro tip that I'm going to share with everyone, regardless of the program, take the time to audit a class talk to a professor, talk to the students that are currently enrolled. That will give you insights that we can't give you because this is someone who's in it right now. Well, of course, Sean can give you the insights because he's currently working on his degree. And when are you going to complete it? So you're going to have to answer that question. You're like, Sean, it's like, when are you going to be able to complete that?
It'll take about a year to write the dissertation. So planning on walking in commencement next spring. That's the plan.
It's like my mom got her PhD in education, and I'm like, how many years are you working on your dissertation? Are you still working on that? I think it took her more than 2 years.
It could take a while, definitely. Something we didn't mention, which we forgot to say in there, is there's online versions too. It's not just on campus in Malibu we're talking about. These programs can be online if that's more convenient for you, if you're outside of the area. Also, we have our satellite campuses in Calabasas, West LA, and Howard Hughes by LAX, and Irvine. So you can take classes at the different campuses. The Malibu is primarily for our law programs and for our undergrad Seaver College. The graduate schools are mainly our satellite campuses or online. So if that's more convenient to meet you where you are as a working professional. We know you're busy.
And again, from experience, I went to 3 different campuses. West LA was my primary campus, but I went down to Irvine, and there's no longer an Encino campus, so now you'd have to drive up to Calabasas. And that allowed me an opportunity to engage with different professors and to expand my network beyond those that were in West LA.
That's a very good point, Raphael. Most people think of Pepperdine as being just in Malibu, beautiful Malibu right behind me. However, we do have that campus in Malibu, but we have 3 other large campuses that are closer to the workplace, so that when you get off of work, it's more accessible for you to be able to drive to the West LA campus or Irvine or Calabasas, like Raphael mentioned, than to take that beautiful PCH highway road multiple times during the week. So we have our campuses set up strategically in hot spots during Southern California so that our working professionals have that access and don't have to drive all the way to Malibu. Now, you do get to graduate in our beautiful Malibu campus, so you get to take the pictures right on the lawn. My husband actually just graduated last weekend, and it was beautiful. It was gonna rain, so we had to go indoors, which made me really sad because I love that like beautiful landscape while the students are walking up on stage. But it was so fun, and I definitely recommend it. Like I said, I graduated from Pepperdine. Now I made my husband graduate from Pepperdine, and my kids are wearing Pepperdine shirts at school. So we're all in.
Well, I got to go to the Malibu campus and then also spend 1 year abroad. Do you still have that international program?
We do. And did you do the full-time program, Lily, or the
I
part-time program?
did. I got to do the full-time program.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, so there's tons of options for anything you're doing out there, whether you want to do a PhD or complete your bachelor's degree. There's some people that have 60 units and maybe have an AA and haven't yet gotten their bachelor's degree. We offer a bachelor's completion program, which allows working professionals to be able to complete that degree and get that Pepperdine diploma on their wall. It won't show any of the community colleges or anything else that you've attended, but rather that diploma will show that you graduated from Pepperdine. And it's a huge accomplishment. So there's every single option that you can think of under the sun. We've been there, we've done that, and we'd love to meet you where you are.
And I just want to add, I still keep in contact with my professors from my MBA program, and not a lot, but several professors, for example, Mark Allen, who I think is in the Masters of Science in HR, he speaks frequently at PIHRA events. So tomorrow he's going to be at the PIHRA Long Beach lunch, speaking about demystifying the secret of not member engagement, employee engagement, because we're talking about HR. And I do see a question, if that's okay, how does PIHRA keep members informed? Oh my gosh, we have 18 chapters, James, throughout Southern California. They meet monthly. So our chapter volunteers are fantastic at knowing because they're primarily HR professionals. So they know the content that is you need to help solve those issues that are keeping you up at night. So not only do we have our chapter events that are monthly, we have 2 key conferences every year. One of them's coming up in May, the California HR conference, and it has, I think, is it 12 learning tracks? One of our specialty areas is employment law. So, Raphael, did I get that right? 12 learning tracks?
12 content tracks, including employment law, culture, talent management,
Leadership
diversity, equity, and
development.
inclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, leadership development. It's a full curriculum, covering every aspect of what HR needs to know. We do have our fall employment law updates that happen after the legislature calendar closes, so that we can get you prepared for the next year. And then we have them, so smaller ones in January. So like if you miss, if you're a little behind, you need to catch up. We also have those, catch up sessions. We cover employment law and other topics on a monthly basis. We have 2 to 3 complimentary webinars for members every month. So if you can't make it out to a chapter event, then we have that available to you.
Yeah, so there's so many different things that PIHRA does. We also have an HR, a weekly newsletter that you get pushed out. We have the hottest HR jobs pushed out to our members and subscribers. If you can't, pay for a membership today, which I hope you can, just go to that PIHRA.org/join and subscribe, because you all may be looking for that new job. We're here for you. But the academic piece that Pepperdine provides is a great complement to what PIHRA provides, which is that ongoing learning, professional development. As Raphael said earlier, be a continuous learner, because that's what's going to make you valuable in the workplace. Oh yeah, and we have a complimentary 30-day membership. I did put it in the chat earlier. I'm going to put it in the chat again. So that is a great way to give PIHRA a test drive.
So I think we've run
And Sean,
out of time.
I remember the name of my favorite professor, John Buckingham.
John's great.
He teaches marketing. I don't know if I'm supposed to if I'm allowed to pick favorites. I don't want to offend any of my other professors. This John stands out.
No, well, he's kind of a done deal. If you go sit Professor Buckingham's class for an audit, like you mentioned, you will sign up as a Pepperdine MBA student. He's just that. You're like, I need to be there. So just so you know,
Yeah.
if you go to a class, audit his class, you will become a Pepperdine MBA student. You can't stop.
You'll be hooked.
You will. Well, the last thing, I just, again, give out the page there, like Rebecca mentioned, put your information there. We'll talk to you directly, help you find if it's right for you or your spouse, domestic partner. And if not now, like Rebecca said, later. But you just realize when you fill information out, you're not going to get on a spam list. It's only us. Only we have access to that data. The rest of school does not get it till we release it when you tell us to.
Well, thank you, Sean and Rebecca. You are wonderful. Thank you for spending this lunchtime with us and informing all these wonderful people about what you offer and allowing PIHRA to partner with you. Really appreciate it. Not sure if anyone has any last parting words.
Quickly, I will say, I know some of you are super excited to get a free cup of Starbucks on Pepperdine. We will be sending out those gift cards via email for all of you that were here and engaged with us. Hopefully, as you're drinking your Starbucks, you do really consider what you want to do next in your career and reach out to us. Fill out this form so we can get more information and be in touch with you. Enjoy your cup of coffee, and you should be getting that by the end of the week.
Well, thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we're adjourned. Look forward to seeing you at a PIHRA event soon. Take care, everybody.